Today we're going to check out another WCW Superstar Series video. We looked at Hogan's tape, we looked at Goldberg's tape. This time the Stinger's up for some scrutiny, but honestly I don't think I'm going to be able to rip into this one too much. Hogan's video was completely in character, which made for a fun watch. Goldberg had absolutely nothing to say in his video, so that one was a bit of a dud. With this Sting VHS, I fully expect the icon to be level-headed because he always is in interviews, but we'll see if he hams it up a bit when talking about his character, and we'll see if we can learn anything from watching this video. I doubt it, but it's worth a shot. I didn't mention this before, but listen to the intro music for these Superstar tapes. Techno boink music isn't exactly fitting for pro wrestling, is it? What is this? It sounds like someone's going to town on a spring. The main feature begins, and again, listen to the music. This doesn't suit Sting at all. I don't think of early 90s Eurodance when I think of the Stinger, but the guys at Turner Home Entertainment thought it was a wonderful idea.
I am Steve Borden.
Killing kayfabe right there, mate.
Born in Omaha, Nebraska, and I wrestle under the name Sting, or the Stinger.
Sting has long been regarded as the franchise of WCW.
People refer to me as the franchise. I think that has to do with being the Rock of Gibraltar here at WCW. I've been here. I'm the only guy, the only wrestler who's never left here and gone over to the other guys and then come back. You know, I've been here all along.
Okay, Sting, I get what you're saying, but PN News didn't go to WWF and neither did Glacier. They were loyal to the cause too, for better or for worse. No, seriously, Bobby Eaton didn't jump either. There's more names too, but carry on.
And the only one to do that. And I've been in top matches, main events. I've been the world champion 7 times.
Eric Bischoff, president of WCW, described Sting's appeal and his development over the years.
Whether it's energy.
Bischoff in between the Ken doll look and the goatee look. Old Eric's head was completely melted from the merger that he didn't even know how to present himself anymore. Hard times, man. Hard times.
His athletic ability, whatever it is, it's charisma. It's hard to define, but Sting had it from a very early time in his career. I watched him evolve throughout the years that I was associated with him, and as time went on and he got more and more confident, it seems like his charisma actually, grew. He became bigger, not so much physically, but in the eyes of the fans.
He's right, Sting's confidence is something you can see blooming during those early days. He became one of WCW's most confident and self-assured performers during these first few years in the company, and the fans loved it.
And a lot of that just had to do with experience and confidence in himself and exposure. And you look at where he is now, and I think with Sting, you're really only seeing the tip of the iceberg. I think he's still got a long way to go.
Again, he's right. Sting's still wrestling today. The dude doesn't stop.
He has won many matches with some of the most effective moves in the sport.
One of them is the Scorpion Death Lock, and that's the one that I've done for years. And it's a leg lock, kind of like a figure 4. It's a submission hold. It gets your back and your legs. And you crank that thing on and turn the guy over and snap, crackle, pop.
I love it.
And then the other one is the Scorpion Death Drop. And that's kind of like a DDT where you drive the guy's head into the mat, only I drop it in backwards. So, it's fun.
Sting also uses the Stinger Splash.
One day I just decided to just jump on this guy in the ring, from across when he was in the turnbuckle. And I almost overshot him though and went out onto the floor, but I remember the crowd just going, it seemed like it really dug that, so I thought I'd stick with it and keep doing it. I still do it to this day.
There you go. The Stinger Splash was something Sting tried one day for a laugh. We're actually learning stuff from this video. Money well spent. We see clips of the Great American Bash 1990 next. This is a great match, by the way, but I'd sooner watch Sting versus Flair at Clash of the Champions 1. Sting then talks about the February 1990 Clash show where he injured himself trying to climb a cage.
Sting's knee had been injured in an earlier bout in February.
I remember I was running towards the cage and trying to run up and latch onto it to get to Ric Flair. And I remember when I jumped, I thought that actually a fan or somebody took a bat or a pipe and whacked me in the knee. But I knew right then that my kneecap was, or my knee patella tendon was severed. So I hobbled down, and one of the all-time great wrestlers, Wahoo McDaniel, and a few other guys were around me. And I remember saying, Flair's gonna come running after me, please just, whatever you do, stop him. Don't let him jump on me because I know he's gonna jump on me. My leg is gone.
After this, we go back to the Great American Bash and Sting wins the belt.
First thing I remember about the match with Ric Flair, the world title match in Baltimore, Great American Bash, was the reaction from the crowd. At the time, it was the loudest, what we call pops, that I've ever heard. It was massive. I mean, like the roof just jumped off this Baltimore arena.
While Sting would lose the title to Flair in 1992, his bout against Lex Luger at the Starrcade 1991 Battle Bowl stands out as another great match.
It was okay, Tony. Let's not get carried away.
Lex Luger, probably the greatest body in wrestling, greatest body maybe ever in professional wrestling. He is a personal friend of mine. He's my best friend and business partner, and
that face. He wants to say Lex is a dick, but he's holding it back.
He has done unbelievable with his career.
And he's a dick.
I think that his career is kind of like mine, against all odds.
Yeah, no.
The way they were then, smoke-filled rooms, small crowds, driving 300 miles one way every single day of the week, and you'd make a $50 payoff to wrestle one guy. And then, let's see, what else? Stories like locker rooms. No locker rooms. You'll wrestle in a barn, an old barn, literally. And the seats were wooden, splintery wooden seats, and they'd fill it with as many as it would hold, 500, 600 people.
I'll just interrupt Sting here to say, already he's talked about 10 times more than Goldberg did in his video, and while it's not terribly insightful, it's still much, much more interesting than the Billy Boy interview, so good job, Stinger.
And I remember one time going into this place, I think it was in Greenwood, Mississippi, in this arena. It was in an old barn, and the dressing room was just an old janitor's room that had, brooms and rusty pipes and
a dirty old janitor watching you get changed into your spandex.
And wood, and it was just filthy. No sink, no bathroom, no toilet, no nothing.
Shit in the corner of the room, blame it on Marcus Bagwell.
That's where we got dressed.
WCW magazine named Sting the most popular wrestler in 1991. In February of 1992, he won his second World Heavyweight title at Super Brawl 2 in Milwaukee. Sting lost the title to Vader in July.
They splashed it!
Well, Big Van Vader, yeah, he took my title, but I could care less about Van Vader. He's gone now, and he's gone because of me. He's gone because of the old Sting.
Yeah, fuck that WWF guy. He's gone, and I drove him out. I'm sure I don't need to talk about the real reason why Vader left, but yeah, Sting taking credit for it's certainly something.
Imagine what the new Sting could do to a guy like Vader now. The old Sting got rid of him, Scorpion Deathlock, whatever happened to him, I don't know, but he's gone. And I knew I was going to get the world title back someday anyway, and I did.
Sting spent the rest of the year feuding with Jake the Snake Roberts. Their feud led up to their match at Halloween Havoc in 1992.
Spin the wheel, Copperfield. We get clips of the Sting versus Roberts match before the icon talks about his face paint.
Well, originally, when I first started, I started with a guy who later became the Ultimate Warrior.
Wait, who?
And we had no face paint. We were just horrible, terrible wrestlers, but we were both big, and we wanted to get in with, at the time, the Road Warriors. And then eventually, because we were so bad, we decided to paint our face a little bit.
I love this. We were so bad, we decided to paint our faces. Like face paint's the answer to all life's problems. Trouble paying your rent this month? Paint your face. Girlfriend sleeping with another guy? Paint your face. Absolutely terrible at pro wrestling and people laughing at you? Paint your face. Works every time.
And originally we had kind of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of look, you know?
So you mean to tell me that this was the look the Blade Runners were going for? Money. I smell money.
And we did get attention. You know, black lips and black mouthpieces and all that, and black around the face, and he had the black flat top haircut, and that's when my white flat top haircut, and that's where the paint first happened, and then I just kind of carried it off into several different personalities and personas and colors over the years.
Yeah, joking aside, the face paint was a pretty big part of Sting's persona, and it worked. It's interesting though that it all goes back to the Road Warriors.
1993 was the challenge.
1993 gets covered with one match, Slamboree, Vader versus Sting, but that Vader guy's gone, so who cares? 1994 also gets covered with only one match, Spring Stampede, Sting versus Rude.
People, Rick is very good at making people despise him and hate him, you know. Well, it's kind of like a soap opera that, you know, everybody can relate to, you know. Good guys, bad guys. Good guys fighting the bad guys. Cool guys, you know, jerks, punks.
Dicks like Lex Luger.
I mean, it's a variety of things that touches everybody out there in one way or another.
Although Sting was voted WCW Magazine's favorite personality for 1994, he still struggled to get a title match against Hogan.
Now, Randy Savage was fun to work with.
Nothing more, nothing less. We then see the Halloween Havoc screw job, and this is when the Horsemen got together and Brian Pillman joined. Not a great night for the Stinger. We then jump back to the 1995 Great American Bash, and it would have been really nice if we could have kept things in chronological order. After this, we jump forward to the end of the year, Sting versus Kensuke Sasaki. Next up is Bash at the Beach 1996 and the formation of the NWO. So the Surfer Stinger content on this tape is very, very limited. This is to be expected, though. These videos are, well, they aren't great, are they?
New World Order of Wrestling, brother!
Hall & Nash versus Sting and Randy Savage. I remember being excited because it was one of the first times I was able to do something with the Macho Man. And the other thing that I remember about it is Hulk Hogan announcing to the world that he was coming from the dark side now.
Not a great deal of insight here. Also, Sting had already teamed up with Macho Man long before Bash at the Beach. Super Brawl 5, for example, Sting and Macho versus Avalanche and Big Bubba. We then see a very brief clip of Fall Brawl 96 in the promo Sting cut the night after. Honestly, if you want to learn about the genesis of Crow Sting, then this stuff is mandatory viewing, but you need to see it all, not just a 10-second clip. We then see another brief clip, and it's the Nothing's For Sure promo. This is when Sting first wore the crow face paint.
A year and a half.
Motivation behind the silence was, once again, to make it really interesting for people. Sometimes less is more, and instead of you know, on camera walking out in front of 20,000 people saying, "I'm gonna get you NWO guys, all in Nash, I'm coming after you," blah, 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 you know, sometimes silence is better.
100% can't argue it. He's absolutely right.
In the arenas, silence seems to mean more, and I thought that it would mean a lot more, and it did. You know, if you just come out and bore holes through somebody with your eyes, that can tell a story. You know, your eyes can tell a big story alone.
Again, completely on the money. Sting staying silent is what made it work, and it's actually kind of surprising that something like this hasn't been attempted again. It works for the right character, and the silence made Sting so much more mysterious and so much more intriguing for viewers at home. It's interesting hearing Sting's take on this, even if it is only a few sentences.
So that's what I believed, and so I thought that the silence was a big payoff.
For many months, it was not clear who he supported, WCW or the NWO. He had changed. he had become a man of mystery.
Just like Austin Powers.
At Uncensored, Sting attacked the NWO and supported WCW.
Well, the black and white Sting was WCW. So people think that if I'm black and white, I'm going to be a Hollywood NWO. That's not true.
Ah, you got us there, Sting. Smart thinking. Genius.
He usually saved the day.
The real Sting!
Still one of the best Sting moments during this whole era. Watch the whole thing though. The crowd reaction, so good. Oh no, I just can't avoid this match, can I? Starrcade 97. I wonder if Sting's gonna say it was all bullshit. We're getting the entire Sting entrance here, more or less. This would have been great for those who didn't see the pay-per-view or have a copy of it on video.
Trying to get him over. Can he get him down? Tonight is our night!
Actually, when I won the world title against Hulk Hogan in front of 16,000 people, it was an unbelievable feeling because I was there with all my friends, Lex Luger and the Steiner brothers and everybody celebrating with me. And then once again, the rush of those people, it's a rush and a feeling that you cannot describe unless you live it.
He's not going to say anything juicy. That's a shame.
So I could never tell you in words what that's like. But, you know, for so long, the NWO was such a strong force. So many months and so many months of silence from me. And although I was silent at the end of that night, we were still victorious in so many different ways for WCW. So we were put back on the map once again.
Although he was the champion, Sting did not speak until January on Thunder.
You're a dead man.
Without the fans, we wouldn't be here. When Hulk says, you know, without me, you wouldn't be here, he's wrong. Without you, without the people, none of the wrestlers would be here. And I know that.
That was so brief. Why make a little title card just for that? They seem to do this with these Superstar tapes. As the video goes into its second half, they kinda get lazy with the interview footage and they just start showing longer match highlights. It's like they use up the bulk of the interview clips at the start and then they're like, oh shit, we still have 30 minutes of runtime left. What are we gonna do, brother? With the amount of these Superstar Series tapes that were available, I'm guessing they sold pretty well. So I suppose I shouldn't complain. We go from Super Brawl to Uncensored to Spring Stampede to the Great American Bash without Sting saying a word. But now Sting's going to talk about the Wolfpac during the final part of the video.
Sting is now one half of the World Tag Team Champions.
Now who's Sting gonna pick?
It was just one of those things that just seemed to fit like a glove. It just seemed right because the chemistry with Kevin Nash, the total package, Lex Luger, my best friend, and K-Dog, Conan. I mean, it's all been working very, very good, you know.
Right, sorry, but it's a hard disagree from me here, and I know that many of the folks who watch Reliving the War will agree with me on this one. Looking back, the Wolfpac just didn't do anything, and I'd also say Sting didn't really have any chemistry with Nash or Conan. Wolfpac Sting or Tomato Sting was a nice little alternative version, and for a while, it was kinda interesting to see him fit into an NWO faction that was more hip and more cool than the black and white version. But take it from someone who watched the whole run again with great detail, it didn't go anywhere. It sold red and black NWO shirts, so I suppose it was a success when it comes to generating revenue, so others will see it as a win, I guess.
You go into these arenas now, and it's a sea of red. I mean, it's incredible. It's like watching, you know, Nebraska play or something like Go Big Red or something. It's incredible. The Wolfpac signs out there all over the place and Wolfpac chants. It's incredible.
Yeah, no denying it. The Wolfpac was insanely popular at the time, and when that music came on, everyone got on their feet. There's no arguing that. From a creative and from a story aspect, though, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It's working great.
The enthusiasm of the old Sting had returned.
One of the great things about being red and black, the Wolfpac, another thing that's great about it is the fact that I can talk again. You know, for so long I didn't talk, I was silent, and that worked great.
As much as the silent and brooding black and white Sting worked, it was good hearing Sting talk again, I won't lie. You gotta ask yourself though, can you remember a good Wolfpac Sting promo? I bet you can't.
But now the personality can come out again, and I can start to relate to the people vocally again. I think that a lot of people are under the impression that Kevin Nash is like the head of the Wolfpac, and he's like our spokesperson or whatever. But there is no leader, like Hogan is the leader of the NWO, I guess. I think he is.
This is also true. The Wolfpac had a promo on Nitro where Nash flat out said he wasn't the leader of the group. The Wolfpac didn't have a leader, all members were equal, at least during the original incarnation of the Wolfpac. Nash being a leader and Savage being a leader seem to be common misconceptions.
We all are our own leaders. That's why on any given night, Lex could be my tag partner, Kevin Nash could be my tag partner, Conan could be, Macho Man's just Looney Tunes 24 hours a day. So I don't think that any one person has more mic time than the other guy, you know? I mean, so we're all like giving and taking.
Well, not a lot said there really. Sting's run with the Wolfpac came to an end at Halloween Havoc 98 thanks to Bret Hart, so this tape was obviously produced before that pay-per-view.
The future holds many possibilities for Sting as a wrestler.
I think Sting has the ability to be 3 or 4 different characters all wrapped in one. There's, you know, if you look at the Sting that we refer to as the dark, scary guy, you know, the one that showed up with vultures on his shoulder and hung around in the rafters and brooded, okay? That was one dimension of the Sting character. The red and black is a completely different dimension of the same character. This one, though, is more outgoing. He's more fired up.
More outgoing. It's like black and white Sting wouldn't go out to Burger King, but the red and black Sting definitely would.
You know, he gets excited very, very easily, but he's still the same character. There's another dimension to Sting that we haven't seen yet that will give him the ability to shift back and forth in a schizophrenic kind of a way.
A schizophrenic Sting. The closest you can think of here really is the insane icon in TNA, the Joker Sting, but he didn't really flip back and forward. If this was an idea Bischoff once had for Sting, as in the Stinger jumping back and forth and kind of losing the plot, then call me crazy, but I think this would have been interesting. Or maybe Bischoff was pulling stuff out of his ass here for the sake of this interview. Who knows?
If you don't take chances, I mean, you'll never know. I mean, you don't get anywhere unless you go out on a limb. And I'm not saying, you know, constantly every day of your life go out on a limb, but I mean, if you want to try something, you're just going to have to like dive in all the way and get dirty to do it.
This sounds slightly erotic. Just try it. Get dirty. You might like it.
And get it done and get it done right. Otherwise, don't even think about trying it.
Throughout the year.
Alright, that's the tape over. I want to see who gets a special thanks though. The Nitro Girls danced during the credits for some reason, and Sting's wife gets a special thanks along with Donna's semen again. I still can't believe Hogan gave the Booty Man a special thanks in his videotape. What a guy. It's a tie between the Hogan tape and this Sting tape. The Goldberg video wasn't good, and to be honest, neither were the others, but you do get a bit more out of Hulk Hogan being completely in character and Sting actually giving little tidbits of insight. These Superstar tapes are nothing special, but they do make for fun little watch-alongs, and I'll be sure to check out more in the future. I really want to watch the Sid Vicious video, but I want to wait until his WCW return and reliving the war before covering it. But I will check it out soon, and I'll share my thoughts. Thanks for watching though guys, and please take care.